Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to paperlessinspectors.com. We are on the home energy scoring tool, and we're going to walk through the scoring tool and look at how we enter a home energy score into the paperless inspector system. You're going to do this for your first time on what we like to call your virtual mentorship. But sometimes, there's a couple weeks, maybe a month or two in between doing a score and you need a little refresher. Maybe this is going to help you out with your mentorship and give you a head start into getting this data onto the scoring tool and submitted to creating a report. So first and foremost, when we open the home energy scoring tool, we have this order info tab. As you can see, I already got it filled out here, and just with some basic test type information. But when you fill out this order info, this is going to be how it is databased and kind of kept as storage on the paperless system. So if you need to go back in time and look up a report from your client's name, their phone number or email, or whatever information that you have, it's easy to look up, it's easy to find, and again, all of your home energy score reports will always be on paperless inspectors. So if you forget to save it to your computer, it's all good, we got your back. So once we finish our order info tab, we're just going to click update and next, and it's going to automatically bring us to our about this home page. So here we want to be sure that we always start off with the correct assessment type. So of course this is going to be a test, but if you're going to do an official report, that's going to be what we call an initial score. If you score a home and the homeowner, buyer, or client, they end up using some of the recommendations on the home energy score to improve their energy efficiency, and they call you and say, hey, I put in some insulation, I got a new hot water unit, can you come back and see where my house scores? Then you do a final score for that house, because it's the initial is how it is, and the final is after they did some improvements. The other one that you may use is the corrected. So on paperless, you can go back to reports and just edit the reports without having to fill out a whole new report, which is awesome. But please, triple please, be sure that if you resubmit a report that has already been submitted into the DOE system, that you make that a corrected report. That way it'll be database correctly in the DOE files, that home had an initial score and that you submitted a corrected score with edited information. Maybe you made a mistake, maybe you missed something. It's okay, we all make mistakes. Just make sure you don't make the mistake of submitting a corrected score not as corrected. Anyways, we got our basic data filled out here for the about this home section. Very straightforward: number of bedrooms, stories, floor to ceiling height, condition square footage. It looks beautiful to me. So when we want to upload our photos for the about this home section, all we have to do is move right over here to the camera. And as you can see, I hover over it, it's going to say upload photos. That's going to bring up our photo uploader. If you have any issues, or if you don't see this browse files button over here, just go ahead and click this. It's going to show you how to update your Adobe Flash Player. And yes, I mean, a lot of different sites have you update your Adobe Flash. Don't worry, this goes to a real Adobe site. There's no malware, there's no spam, there's no any weird things. It's just literally going to update your Adobe Flash Player to be able to work with the photo uploader. Once you do that, if you need to, then you can open up and say browse files, and it's going to bring up some files to browse. And I think I already uploaded some photos into this, but I got my floor plan, I got my elevation, I got my compass, and I'm just holding control on the keyboard, and I can select multiple photos to upload at once. So you don't need to do this 10 times. So click and highlight which photos you want to upload, press open. As you can see, they're going to pop up here, upload very quickly, and then they're going to populate here in the View Photos tab. You can simply click check all, and that way you can go in and edit these captions here. So as you can see, I had these photos uploaded already, but I can again come in here and say floor plan. I can come here and say compass or facing north, and I can say elevation. Make sure to click update. It's going to say updated successfully, and we're all good. We can close out of this and we're good to go. You can then see on the preview tab that these photos are reflected in the about this home section. So done with about this home. We got some photos uploaded. We got some info in here. I'm going to click save and next, and it's going to take us to our roof and attic section. Now, okay, so here on the roof and attic, I have one roof entered. You can enter in up to two roof types. So in this situation, if I click edit down here in this kind of database, it'll bring up the information that I already entered. 800 square feet, standard roof, comp shingles. There's no additional insulation on the attic ceiling. The roof is medium dark, it's an unconditioned attic, and the floor insulation is an R30 here. Now, we have a couple quick tools when you're coming up with your R values. You got to use the assessor calculator a lot of times. So right here is a link you can click and you can open the assessor calculator. So if you're on your laptop or if you're somewhere else or if you just didn't save it onto your computer, at any time you can get the assessor calculator just straight from Paperless. And we make sure to keep the most updated calculator available for you guys. So you can use the insulation D-rate calculator here to get your R value. Now, what I also like to use a lot is if you go right over this question mark here at attic floor insulation, it's going to bring up the insulation tables, and this is going to give you a R value per inch for all the different types of insulation. Cellulose, fiberglass, rock wool. It's going to give you the same good, fair, poor value per inch for batt insulation, and basically anything you need. Urethane for that spray foam. And so you can use this table if that's easier for you to calculate and get your R value based from your measurement. Okay? Now, I'm going to update this right here, and I'm going to add a second area type. So unlike the other pages like on About This Home, it has Save and Next. It pops you right over on Roof Attic, on Foundation, and also on Systems, because you can add multiple types. It's not going to have that Save and Next, but you're going to want to make sure if you press Save that you see your information down here in this database so you know that it's saved. So we know that our Roof 1 is saved in here, that 800 square foot unconditioned attic. So I'm going to add 200 square feet of a cathedral ceiling. So 200 square feet, it's the same standard roof, it's comp shingle. Now this is where I'm going to put in insulation level for the attic ceiling, because since it's a cathedral ceiling, there's no attic floor. There's just a basic cavity in between the interior and exterior. I'm just going to throw in R19 and complete the data here, medium dark, and the type is going to be cathedral ceiling. And as you can see, the room for attic floor insulation kind of disappears. So I'm going to save this. You can see roof 2, 200 square feet is saved down here as a cathedral ceiling. So we're good. At this point, I know that both of my roof and attics are saved, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on Foundation to go to the next tab. Now here on Foundation, again, I have a slab on grade entered in here. I can press edit. It brings the data up here, so if I need to change it real quick, I can change it. But I'm going to update this and see that I have my slab on grade saved down here at the bottom. Now I'm going to add a second foundation type because we're having some fun. I love adding extra types. So we're going to add a vented crawl space to this place as well. It's 200 square feet. We're going to say that there's a R13 above the crawl space, but there's an R0 on the wall surrounding this vented crawl. Again, I'm going to save. We see we have floor 2, 200 square feet, vented crawl, saved down here below with the information that we put in. And therefore, we know we're good, and we can go over here, click walls, and on to the next section. So here, first and foremost, is this house a townhouse or duplex? Make sure that if it is, you say yes. You can easily add the position of that townhouse, or if it's not, it's just a house, we can say no. Then, is the exterior wall construction the same on all sides? We can say yes, and that gives us one field here because the construction is the same on all sides. Or we can say no, and we can put in different R values or materials per the front, back, left, and right side of the house. Now, we're just, for simplicity reasons, going to say that all sides are the same. We have wood frame, wood siding, and exterior insulation level of R13. Now, I get a lot of questions on exterior walls with finding the insulation level of that exterior. So a lot of people don't realize, but you can go to this icon here. If I highlight, it says Inspection Depot Reference Materials. And you can see here we have the DOE reference material for this section. And each section, being on the Walls tab, we can click here and open the Walls PDF that explains everything about walls. But if you go down some pages in walls here, we're going to have this little chart here that's going to give us some R values based on the wood frame construction type and the year. So fall back, you know, if you can't find an outlet, or if you can't find any evidence of insulation, you can look here to find the year and the R value based on the DOE standard. So that is a great little reference that you can use. Again, if you're on the scoring tool, it's here under the Inspection Depot reference materials. As you can see, like if I go back to foundation, I can click the same thing, whoops, and get the DOE foundation reference. Roof attic, we can get the roof attic. So if you ever have any questions in a section of like, oh, I got something funky in this house, and you're trying to figure out what it is, you can look up these DOE reference materials to get all of the intricate data about that section. So we're going to come back here. We're on walls, and again, we want to make sure we say save and next, okay? Now windows, we got our windows filled out just the same as before. Are all the windows the same on all sides? Yes, we have one section. If they're different around the house, we can click no, and we can add a different window types for each side of the house. Next, we're going to press save and next to continue. Does the house have skylights? Yes or no? If yes, it's just like windows. We add the area, we add the amount of panes, frame, and glazing type here. But for the case of this test, we're just going to say no, save and next. And now we're in our systems here. So again, similar to your roof and attic, we have this nice little database down here of our information. So I already have one system inputted into our scoring tool. So if I click edit here, it's going to bring that information back up. And as you can see, I entered that this system serves 80% of the home. So we're going to have a second system that serves 20% of the home. Make sure that it always equals 100%. This system, as you can see, is a central gas furnace, central AC, with their correlating efficiency values input for those units, and then some information about the ducts here. They're 100% in the unconditioned attic. Update that. Again, it tells us it saved successfully, and we have that database down at the bottom. So now we can simply just enter in our second type. So we're going to do 20%, and let's just say that this place has a little ductless mini split. And as you can see, when I choose the mini split, it's going to bring it into both heating and cooling, because similar to like a heat pump, it's going to heat and cool from the one unit. So let's just say the heating value is, let's just say 9.5, and the efficiency for cooling is 15. We can save this. Again, submitted successfully. We can see down here at the bottom we have our second HVAC system, our mini split, our efficiency values. So we know that information is saved and good. We can now go to the next tab, hot water. Here we have in electric storage. You can take your choice. Make sure to add the energy factor from the assessor calculator. Save and next. And then we have solar as our last but not least. Now, if there is a solar system, it's very, very simple. You can just press yes. Do you know the capacity? If not, you can just simply enter the number of panels in the system, the year installed, and the direction that they face. If you do know the capacity, then you can enter that in kilowatts. Now, if there's no solar system or PV system, simply press no, but be sure to still press save and next. Now, if you're doing your actual virtual mentorship, you're going to go through this mentor review and answer some simple questions here. This isn't a pass-fail test. It's just for the mentor that you have to understand kind of what level you're at, and if you're having any hardships with any issues. Last but not least, we always want to check out this preview tab. And as you can see, this is going to list out all of the data that we input into the scoring tool for this home. So it's really nice to be able to review this information. Sometimes when you're transferring information from a photo or from a sheet that you wrote things down on, sometimes you can make some errors just on typing it into the computer. So make sure that you double check this information. We just added photos for the About This Home section. So again, we can check these photos, make sure that they all uploaded properly and are in here well, and then we know we're looking good. Last but not least, we're going to go to the submit tab, okay? So once you double checked everything, made sure everything looked perfect, we're going to come in here, we're going to say accept that we've conducted this score to the required standards and procedures, and that we are not intentionally using incorrect data. So we're going to enter in our little CAPTCHA here for security, and then we're going to simply press submit.